talking about this, just listen and see if there's different nuances in the way that I might teach it. And the reason for that is because even though I know how to do things and I know how to develop teams, I'm always listening to other leaders to see how they might present something or reteach it, because it's my job to then go regurgitate that to my team. To create duplication, strong duplication in your team, sometimes you might need to redirect one of your coaches to a different leader that they might just connect with more. And so that's when we kind of have to lay down our egos and say, it's not really about me, it's about them. I want to help them grow. And so if someone else is going to teach it differently in a way that, you know how sometimes Lindsay can say things a million times and then someone else says it and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, it's like the first time I've ever heard it. You guys probably have experienced that if you, well, I know pretty much all of you guys have your own teams at this point. So just listen to see if there's any nuances that you guys might hear that you can reteach it to one of your coaches that may not be connecting with the concept. But so I'm going to talk to you guys about developing passionate leaders, but I'm also going to dive into any area that you guys want. If you guys have questions, if you want to interrupt me, this is not going to be like a standard me stand on stage and talk at you guys. I really want it to be where you guys take control of the content, because this is for you, not for me. So I'll talk to you a little bit about developing the leaders. I can go into specifically like my Emerald to Diamond groups and how I use those to grow new leadership. And then also, Lindsay asked me to talk a little bit about attraction marketing, which is something that we could probably talk all day on, right? It's a good topic. So we'll start with this, and again, like if you guys want to raise your hand or interrupt me, this is all about what you guys need, so you guys take control of the content. So I started my business 5 years ago. I've been coaching since September 2011, and I hit Diamond within about 40 days. My official start date was more like beginning of October. I was still working full time. I'll give you guys copies of these slides too, so you don't have to take pictures of all of them. Yeah, you guys will get any of the resources that I mentioned at the end. I have a tiny URL if you guys just want to jot that down, and you can grab them all from a Google Doc that I already stored there for you guys. So I hit Diamond very, very quickly, but like Josh was talking about, a lot of people hit Diamond and then what, right? You either drop rank or you stop hitting Success Club because you just had this like short-term vision of, I got to get to Diamond because that's what everybody says we got to do. That's what so much energy and focus is put on, and I think that we work so hard to get there, and all of a sudden it's like, and you just have this breath of relief that you hit your goal, but then all of a sudden shit starts to fall apart, right? Do we have any little ears that are going to repeat bad words besides my children? They know what to do now. Just making sure. I see I'm on Facebook Live, so if you guys have kids around, earbuds. If you know me, you already know that. So what I want to help you guys do for yourself and then for your team. So remember, I teach, you do, you reteach. That's how you guys want to approach your entire business. You listen to someone teach, you do, you reteach. And that's the best way for you guys to become an expert in any topic, is to learn it and then go reteach it. Because we learn things by reading and by listening and all these different sensory experiences, but the best way to really remember it and become good at it is to just reteach. And so I've really used that approach through my entire business to become good at topics that initially I was probably learning from like a Janelle Summers or Christine Dwyer or Melissa McAllister, you know, just the people that have kind of paved the way for us in our business. So once I hit Diamond and my business started declining, I stayed stuck there for 18 months. And my income went from making anywhere between like $400 to $600 a week, which I felt was really good and on track. I was trying to make $1,000 a week by my first year in the business so I could walk away from my full-time job. I heard you guys already, you're probably very dehydrated from a lot of crying. And I was definitely that coach where I would find myself like face buried in the carpet after a workout, just sobbing because I'm like, when is this gonna happen for me? When is like the bubble gonna happen? I used to describe it to my coaches like when you would make your own homemade popcorn, you put the kernels in the pan and you start to get a little sizzle. When am I gonna get the fucking popping happening in my business where like the momentum is just coming? And it became so frustrating to me but it was because I was just too focused on a short-sighted goal to where when it got hard, I started almost doing less. And I don't know if you guys know Rachel Luna, I assume you do since she's worked with Lindsay a lot, but we were just talking about this yesterday where she was saying some of her people struggle because they say, I'm doing all the right things, but it's just not happening for me. And I said, Rachel, I don't know what everybody's doing in their business. I don't know who you're talking about. All I know is that when I said that, I was feeding myself a big pile of bullshit. Like, I was showing up and I was doing enough work, but I wasn't doing enough of the business growth activities, and I didn't have a strong emotional connection to the process. Not just the why, because if you guys have a goal that's attached to a deadline and the deadline passes, then what? Why do you keep going? That's why people fall off, because they hit their diamond goal, then what? So what I want to teach you guys, and then I want you to go reteach, is to teach people how to become connected to the mission, which is the daily activities, and how you can create a business around things that you love. And I think Josh probably touched on some of this stuff as far as being creating a passion-based business, not just clean eating groups. So I want to kind of dive deeper into that and show you guys how I've done that in my business, because if I have to do one more clean eating group, I'm just going to throw up. I'm going to be the bulimic coach on the team. Can't do it, guys. I can't stomach one more clean eating group. So I want you guys, and you don't even have to write this down. I have a worksheet that you guys will get, and you guys, if you want to work on it while you're here, honestly, whenever I'm inspired, that's when I get the most work done. I choose to do work in the moment when I'm excited and I'm inspired, and that's one of my big secrets to being a really high performer, a highly productive coach, is that when I feel excited about it, I work, and I work tirelessly, and I get big chunks of projects done in the moment of inspiration. Because if you just put it on this list and you're like, okay, I'll do this next week, you're not excited about it anymore, right? You lose that momentum. So I try to take moments where I'm feeling excited, inspired, and then I will go find a cave somewhere and I'll just knock out as much work as I possibly can. So if you guys want to use this weekend, super smart. So I want you guys to ask yourself, what do you want to do as a coach? Who do you want to help? How do you want to help them? And how is that going to affect the world? How is that going to benefit the world? So for me, I'm a military wife, if you guys didn't know that. I have made either some of my best friends and the coolest people in the world, or just have been exposed to environments of just a lot of cattiness, people not supporting each other, just not environments that, it's just not my vibe. So I kind of was a little bit more of like the loner military wife. You know, my husband would always say, like, go join these different groups that you can join. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be a part of those groups because everybody's talking shit about each other. And it doesn't sound fun. So for me, when I close my eyes and I think about who do I want to help, how do I want to help them, and how does that benefit the world, I think about women empowering women. That was just driven to me since I was a little girl. My grandma was all girl power. I remember when I think it was on my 13th birthday, she was bringing me home to my dad's house for my party, and she rolled the windows down, and this is when she was going through therapy after her divorce with my grandfather, and she rolled the windows down and she made me scream the word no, until, like Josh was saying, like, I couldn't just be like, no. I had to be screaming it until I was overpowering the wind on the freeway, because she wanted me to feel what it felt like to own the words and to know that I could use them anytime I wanted to. Not because somebody else says that I have to do something, but to really feel empowered and say no. And I tell you guys, my grandma practices what she preaches, because whenever I'm like, Grandma, let me buy you a plane ticket to come see me. If she don't want to, she ain't coming. She's like, no, not right now. I'm like, shit, Grandma, but I miss you. Like, no. I miss you too, but I'm not coming. I have other priorities. I'm like, okay, Grandma. But I want to teach people how to just be empowered by their own desires. What's important to them? What are their priorities? I know I couldn't see the face of who was speaking, but letting family dictate our priorities. Like, be empowered by that word no. So for me, when I think about my mission, I close my eyes and I see myself standing linked arms with other women that feel empowered by their own desires and that are going to go after them. That's how I want to benefit the world also, because when you find people that are confident in who they are and what they want, they are game changers. They're people that make new rules, and they're the people that get shit done, right? We know that. So what I want you guys to do is become so connected to that vision or that mission of who you want to help, how you're helping them, how this is benefiting the world, that it becomes this internal craving that you cannot get rid of. I wake up every day with it in my belly of like, who's the next Andrea? Because that's where I was 5 years ago. I was $100,000 in debt. I was working a job where there was no room for growth, and I am just, by nature, I'm an individual who has to grow or I'm dying. And I think most people in general are like that, or they've forgotten that they're like that. So I want you guys to come up with what that vision looks like for you, and be so connected to it that you wake up every day and it's like, if you don't feed that craving, you are slowly dying inside. And I want you to teach that to your team as well. I love this quote because how often, you guys are doers clearly, or you wouldn't be in this room, but how often do we work with people where it's like, would you please just go invite one person today? Or you get to the end of the month and they have Success Club 2 again. I'm like, if you can get 2, you can get 6. What the, guys? Like, it's just the process of talking to more people. If you can do 2, you can do 6. And you're constantly, like, trying to pull people along and carry them on your back. And I did that for 18 months in my business until I had this big aha of, I don't want followers anymore. I want partners. I want partnership. And I want to teach them how to create this vision that doesn't have to push them, where I don't have to push them, but their vision starts pulling them. So this is the worksheet that I'm going to give you guys. It's going to teach you guys how to write your mission statement. We'll just give Josh a moment.
This is Josh. This is black. No, it's like, does this help? Like the sun's like bouncing off of the car. Like what's happening every day. I can't see. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. This is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. I just need a stick. Yeah. I'm so short.
I think your jeans are ripped.
Where's your husband?
Where's Jerry?
There we go.
Hi. Yeah, all right.
Don't fall, because there's going to be video evidence.
It happened.
Don't rip your
All right.
Okay. So again, I teach, you do, you reteach. So you guys are going to take this form, you're going to do it for yourself, and then you're going to do it with your leaders as well. Probably your brand new coach doesn't quite know what this is going to be yet. So this would be something that you guys incorporate into an Emerald to Diamond group, where people start to become connected with what their own vision is. Because I promise you guys, when you close your eyes, you don't see the same stuff that I see. You don't see the same vision that's going to pull you. And it's going to be the same for your team. But initially, you guys do a good job of constant, and you're very emotionally connected to your mission, and you guys do a good job of sharing this on social media, who you want to help, what do you want to do, how do you want to help them, how do you want that to help or change the world. That's a piece of attraction marketing. That's raising your level of influence, because you're someone going somewhere and people want to be a part of that. They either want to be someone going somewhere, or they just need enough of your confidence to get them started, and they'll start to become a part of your mission, and eventually they'll have their own. But sometimes we just need to be a part of someone else's first, because we don't quite have that confidence that we can do it. So a brand new coach probably isn't going to be ready for that. So this is something that you guys can put into your Emerald to Diamond group, where you can help them start creating something that they just feel really, really connected to. And I know Josh was driving into this at the end, but I'm reading a book called The 12-Week Year. If you guys haven't read this, it's like the perfect book for an Emerald to Diamond push. Going through this with them, I would say don't give them longer than a week, because it's like 5 hours on Audible. It's a super short book. But one of the things that I wrote down is For people to get outside of their comfort zone, they have to have a strong emotional connection to the outcome. If there's no emotion connected to it, they won't get outside their comfort zone, and you can't grow unless you get uncomfortable, right? The problem is that I hear these great stories in here, and I hear all these sob stories that I become so emotionally connected to with my coaches when they start, but they're so already comfortable in the discomfort. You guys might have seen a Facebook Live that I did just a few weeks ago where I said you're not successful because you're comfortable in your own shit. It's your shit, right? But you're comfortable there. You don't like it necessarily because it's shit, right? You don't like it, but it's yours, and it's cozy, and you're used to it, right? If you guys are comfortable in there, even if you don't like it, but you don't have a strong enough emotional connection to a new outcome that will cause you to get outside your comfort zone so that you can grow, you just won't, and your coaches won't either. So you guys can work on this mission statement and their vision statement with them in order to connect them with something new that will evoke this like craving and desire for them to work hard enough to get outside their comfort zone. Because it is hard, right? I don't care who you are, nobody really likes change. I'm a gypsy mindset. You guys could show up at my house and say, we're leaving in 20 minutes, go pack a bag. I'm like, fuck the bag, I'll buy new shit when I get there, let's go. That's my personality, but that's my comfort zone. If you guys asked me to be home all the time, I would be like a fish out of water. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. That's not my comfort zone, to be stagnant and to stay in one place. Thanks, babe. So it's really just figuring out what that person's comfort zone is and connecting them to that new vision so that they will do the hard work, the uncomfortable work, to get out of it. Cool? Any questions so far? Okay, so this is my team mission statement. But I'm going to share with you guys my personal mission statement. We wrote this together as a team. But my personal mission statement that I feel super connected to is I teach women how to create physical and financial wealth, freedom, and joy so that we can show up in the world, unapologetically, so we can show up in the world in a bigger and more audacious way. So let me break that down and tell you guys why I feel like I get, like, my chest is tightening up right now because I feel this, like, urge to get up and do shit when I say that. Like, I have to take action because when I break that down, number one, I work with too many women that are uncomfortable with making money because they don't want to hurt someone's feelings. They're uncomfortable with doing big things because they don't want to outshine other people, which is bullshit. Why do we have to keep apologizing for being awesome? Right? Why do we have to apologize for that? I just think, and the cool thing is like the more authentic and unique and awesome you are, the more other people gravitate to it and they want to be awesome with you. There's going to be people that are going to come into your life and they're not going to have the courage to do it. And you're going to want them to because you're a leader. You believe that they're able. Of course they're able. But they may just choose that they don't want to. And I think that's probably my Achilles heel in this business is because I have such strong vision for the people that I work with that I want them to do these big things they say that they want to, but they're not willing to. And then it just hurts, right? Because you're like, I know what you could be. You know? That's what kills me. I know what they could be. And you guys have to remember that that's where you keep going. Because eventually they're going to catch back up with you or they're not, but that's on them. You guys have to be willing to shine so bright that you give other people the courage to do that with you. So when I say that, I say, I want to show up unapologetically with all of my awesomeness that God gave me, that I was born with, that I am here to give to other people, and I want to teach other people to show up like that too. And I want to stop apologizing for being a high earner. How many people, I've worked with a lot of people that are like, I can't make that much because it'll hurt my dad's feelings. Right? Have you ever thought about that? If you out-earn your father, there could be some big emotional disconnects right there, right? Actually, I've met some men that don't want to out-earn their father because they think, like, what would that do to his ego? I love my dad with my whole heart. I would step in front of a bullet for my dad. But if my dad wants to earn more money than me, my dad needs to step up his motherfucking game. Right? That's how I feel. Step it up, Dad. Like, but that wasn't his purpose. My dad wasn't put on this earth to be a high earner. I know that. My dad was Special Forces, Green Beret. My dad was a badass. Like, kicked in doors where I don't even know he kicked in doors. My dad was a badass. That was his purpose on this world. Mine is to empower women, to make money, to be audacious givers. So the end of my mission statement is so that we can show up in the world in a bigger and more audacious way. And that means that if I have the money, I can write a $10,000 check when someone needs it. Or I can take my time because I have location freedom and freedom of time to go serve in ways that I could have never done before. So while the money is important to have those goals and metrics, it's never really about the money. It's about the freedom. It's about what you can do with it. So that's what I want to teach women. Like, I don't care what your bank account says. And I don't care if it hurts someone else's feelings. Step up your game. If you want to out-earn me, step up your game. And what you guys will do, too, is for the people who are in your circle that want to stay there, you'll raise the bar for them. Because they'll want to keep up with you, which is really, really cool. Just by you being a badass, you'll raise the bar for them. I have people in my life that are constantly raising the bar for me, where I'm like, oh my God, they just did that? Like, shit, I gotta step up my game. I don't cry about it. I'm like, oh my God, they're so much better than me. I think, like, I gotta go do hard work now. I gotta go get shit done so that I can raise my own personal bar, my own personal standards. And I want my kids to see that. It's not just about us. It's everything that we do is really setting examples for other people as far as what's possible. It gives them hope and it gives them courage. And if it doesn't, they just need to go work through their own emotional stuff. That doesn't mean I'm going to leave anybody, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to slow down my own personal growth for them either. Cool? So that's my personal mission statement. And I wake up every day and I feel so connected to that. And when I focus on that, when I focus on all the Andreas out there that are $100,000 in debt, that are slowly dying because they're not growing, that want to be audacious givers, that want to travel the world, that don't want to apologize about the fact that they bought a Chanel, but they also just donated 10 grand. Like, who the fuck are we to like sit here and try to please other people by our actions? I'm so over it. So part of my new branding has become a little stripped. It's stripped and unfiltered are the two words that drive my personal brand. You guys hear that tumbling out of my mouth as I speak. I'm just so sick of apologizing for who I am and what I want to do and what God put me on this earth to do. That's who I have to please, not anybody else. But when I focus on what He put me on earth to do, and when I feel really aligned with my mission, everything else falls into place. The rank, the success club points, the income, they all start to come. So again, I teach, you do, you reteach, right? You need to get them connected with the mission. That thing that's going to wake them up and they have that ache of like, if I don't do this, I'm dying inside. And you guys can teach that. So we're going to talk about the hedgehog concept, which is a newer concept to me, the idea of it, but I've realized that I've actually been doing this in my business from the very first time that clean eating groups made me want to vomit. So I realized that I had to start taking more of me and who I am and infusing that into my business so that I wanted to show up every day. It's not hard work when it's something you love. So I want to teach you guys, and then I want you to reteach how to take what you love, stuff that you're really passionate about, what you're good at, and what pays, and how to merge those three things together. So I'll show you guys my hedgehog. So my passions are strong female friendships. You guys, I hope that I've given the impression already that that's really deeply important to me. Self-care. My second full year in this business, I was number 17 in the company, but I didn't have the system set up to sustain that and not kill myself in the process, and I burn out. And I started actually resenting my business and resenting my team. And I realized that's not who I am, that's not what I want to be about. And so I had to pull back and I really focused on self-care. And I realized that the more that I focused on myself, the more that I was growing anyway. And while I didn't stay number 17, I did finish that year number 24 in the company, and I felt really good about that. I felt really amazing because I did that when I was still aligned with my goals and my mission, who I am and who I want to help. And I didn't have to sacrifice any of that. I didn't have to look at people like successful points. I had a coach come to me at the end of, I think it was the end of July or August, I can't remember, all my days blur together lately. But she said, how do you hit Success Club consistently without looking at people like their points? And I said, I focus on the process. I focus on the journey. I focus on the people. And all of the other stuff starts to fall into place naturally. High performance health. I am like a huge lover of Brendan Burchard, everything, Tony Robbins. I go to as many of their live events as I can. I'm getting certified in Brendan's High Performance Coach Academy in December. Not because I want to go out there and like coach other people outside of Beachbody. It's just I want to be better. I want to be better for my team, and I want to be able to reteach. So I invested into that, into myself, because I know it's going to duplicate within my team. My spirituality, I refound my faith through this business, and therefore it's a huge piece of my business. Travel, like I said, is so important to me. I can't sit in one spot for too long before I start to hyperventilate. My family, I just want my kids to look at me and say, I can do anything. And I almost punched my kid in the throat when I walked into this house, because he walked in and he's like, Mom, I don't feel good enough to be here. And I was like, what did you just say? Like, are you kidding? Clearly, I've made a mistake somewhere, because we're constantly talking about how you can have anything that you want to. I think that was like a moment slip for him, or maybe he was just trying to be silly, but I took it very seriously, and I just want my kids to dream big and to do anything that really, really, really that they desire. Education, I will always be learning, even if it's not my job. Like, that's why Beachbody makes so much sense for me. Entrepreneurship makes so much sense for me. It's my desire to just continue to grow, just as a human being. And all of that stuff has made me better at my entire life. My husband and I have been married for 13 years, and trust me, like, there were times where we almost didn't make it. But my desire to continue to grow and to fight for what I want, our desire, is why we're married 13 years now, and why he is, seriously, I wake up every day with like this air just like consuming me, because I just feel so blessed because of my relationships. That's what drives me. And then office supplies. If you guys follow me online, you know that if you guys want to take me out on a nice little girl date, then we're going to go to Staples. And we're going to look at all the highlighters and colored pencils, Post-it notes. I love anything that's colorful and organization. And then what am I good at? Leadership is something that I've always been strong at, because I was one of the older children of like 6 million. My parents got married and divorced quite a bit when I was younger, and so between 9 brothers and 2 sisters, I was the one kind of leading the way. Had to be the responsible one. So the leadership part I kind of just grew into just by nature of how I grew up. I have strong vision. The creative in me just naturally has strong vision. But what I know about myself as a weakness is that I'm not so good in the small details to bring those visions to life. So I need to be humble enough to ask for help, for the people who fill in the gaps of where my strengths and their strengths come together. So my success partner, Joelle Cease, is like the uber detailed like taskmaster. And so we get so many cool projects done together because I have the idea and she's like, okay, X, Y, Z, and then we go to work together. So it just works really, really beautifully. Tough love. This is something, I don't know if maybe like my dad instilled it to me, because like if you fell down and sprained your ankle, my dad's like, here's some dirt, rub it on there, you're fine. I learned how to swim by literally being tossed in. While jellyfish were actually swimming towards me. I think I'm still actually traumatized. Just had this flashback right now, guys. But when I give tough love, because I am such naturally a very passionate individual, my team seems to receive it well. Whereas I know sometimes people feel challenged by giving tough love because you're afraid you're going to hurt someone's feelings. In reality, you're actually stunting their growth and you're holding them back, and it's very selfish not to be honest with people. That doesn't mean go be like, what the fuck is your problem? And like, be an asshole about it, but you do have to be honest. But do it with the intention of truly helping them grow, not only when your rank depends on it, P.S. Because I've done that before where it's like, I'm pushing for a big goal, guys. Come on, are we all on board here? Because it was my goal. And if you guys are like, man, I've done that, we've all done it. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's guilty. Even Janelle Summers, admitted to it once, and we all get into those modes. But tough love is something that's really important, and I'll teach you guys how to do that effectively towards the end here. Systems, listening, digital design, perspective. That's one thing that I used to think like God never really gave me a talent. Like I can't dance unless I have vodka, in which case I'm an excellent dancer. I'm artistic, but not good enough to be a paid artist, or rather I don't have the passion to become good enough to become a paid artist. But one thing that I've always been really good at, I think again my childhood really kind of positioned me for this, is I grew up with lots of different turmoil going on, abuse and divorce and marriage and just constant changing. That's probably why I can't sit in one place for too long. But even when I had people in my life that were abusive, I could always see the good in them, the little child that they were, the person that they could have been. I can always tend to see that vision. So when I'm going through struggle, or when my friends are going through struggle, or my coaches, I tend to have fairly good perspective about like what could the other person be going through, and how can we approach this differently to where everybody wins. And then storytelling and social media, and those things just go really, really, really perfectly together. Teaching, I didn't realize was a natural strength of mine until I started doing it in this business, and then I realized that I did kind of have a knack for it. And then fostering community, again, like that goes back to my personal mission of like linking arms with just badass people that want to do cool shit in the world. And then what pays? Like entrepreneurship made so much sense for me. Initially, I felt a little scared to go that route because I'm like, well, I don't know anything about owning a business. But Beachbody is kind of like that business in a box where you don't have to do the product development, and like we have so much brand recognition that we just get to do the easy part, which is share stuff that we love that works for us. And it makes it so simple that it just blows my mind when people are like, I can't do this. I'm like, it doesn't get easier than this, guys. They gave us the whole business in a box. It doesn't get easier than that. So free groups, inviting, developing your new team members, those were all things that made sense for me based off of the things that I loved and the things that I was already good at. So what I want you guys to do, I'm going to give you guys a worksheet. I'll show you that in just a second. I want you guys to figure out what is it that you love, what are you passionate about, what are you good at, and then what pays well when you pull that into your Beachbody business. Because the secret to success is this: the journey has to feel the way you want the destination to feel. So if you guys are constantly showing up and you're like stressed and frustrated, you're actually pushing yourself further away from your goals, because nobody wants to jump on the bus of stress success, right? Doesn't it get hard to recruit and hard to fill a challenge group when you're like, just come on guys, like we're 2 more Success Club points, let's go team. Like it really, really delays the success, and eventually you guys are clearly here and you're in it to win it. But for the people, Tony Robbins teaches that people makes decisions based off of, is this going to bring me pleasure or pain? Yes, growth is painful, but if you have a little bit of it, my pastor just taught like the way to overcome fear is just to take it in small enough doses to where you become immune to it. Well, it's the same in this business. If it's painful to grow, but just a little bit and a little bit, but everything else is so joyful, it's not an imbalance. But if all people are getting is the stress of the rank and the Success Club points, and they don't have fun in actually doing the work to attain those things, you'll lose them. Because it'll be too much pain. There'll be a huge imbalance of like pain versus pleasure. The pleasure only happens for them on a Thursday if they get paid or rank advanced, but what if they don't? Where are they going to keep going, right? So you guys are going to do this and then duplicate with your team. You guys are going to fill out this worksheet where it talks about, like, what are you good at? What are your passions and your skills that you're already good at? And how can you develop a business around those things? So for me, like, my faith is important, so I'm constantly doing free groups on pulling my faith into my business, because I could talk about it all day long. You guys have to figure out what are the topics and things that you love you could talk about all day long with people, and then make a free group out of it, because you guys are going to be excited about it, and passion and excitement is contagious, and other people will get a good experience from it because you're excited about it. And when it comes to attraction marketing, you guys are going to attract your tribe, because they're going to want to be a part of these free groups that you're passionate and excited about. And now you guys have already just built trust and connection because you guys have similarities, right? And now you guys are going to connect with these people, and they're going to become your tribe because you just get each other. And doesn't that make it so much more fun to show up to work with people that just get you, right? It does. So you guys are going to fill this out with your team and help them think about what are some ways to open the funnel, so to speak, to bring people into your network or your community on things that you're already passionate about. It's not just Beachbody. If you are crazy passionate about nutrition, yes, the clean eating groups make a lot of sense for you. I know Melissa McAllister, she loves those things. She does them all the time, but I'm like, fuck, dude, I can't. I just can't. So I do book clubs on my spirituality. I've done, you guys might have seen, I just did a vision board planning party for like the last quarter this year. We did one in the beginning of the year with my friend Amanda Francis. And so I connect with people also outside of Beachbody who have similar vibes as me. And that's another attraction marketing tip for you guys is when I connect with these people who I share a lot of things in common with, and we're very passionate about the same things, their followers are too. And so when we do stuff online together, their people are like, who's this Andrea chick? And they end up coming following me. And I've actually added a ton of people to my team because of my relationship through her and through various other people that are outside of the Beachbody world. And same for her. It's benefited both of our businesses, and we have tribes of people that just get us. And it makes it fun to show up to work every day. So remember, it's all about the people. This business is important to have the numbers and the metrics. I'm a numbers person. I like to know, like, what's my next step? What do I need to be working towards? Because what we track, we can improve. But if we become so focused on the numbers and the elite points and the Success Club points and how many coaches we need for rank, and we forget about the people, that's when our teams start to dissolve and break apart. We don't have a strong team. We'll lose them because they don't feel a personal connection to us. So some little ways that I do that for my team are I have them create an about or fill out my About Me form, and I'll give you guys a copy of that. Most of my About Me form is because my love language is gift giving. I want to know their shoe size, I want to know their favorite flower, because I just love to surprise people with stuff that they don't expect, but something that's like special to them and unique to them. So I ask a lot about that. I also ask about their love language because I want to know how do they like to be recognized. My husband is acts of service, which I actually forgot to put on that list, so that's the fifth one. I have other friends, my success partner, Joelle Cease, she's words of affirmation. So if I really want to make her happy, I have to remember, like, if I'm going to buy her a gift to make me happy, I also have to include words of affirmation. Otherwise, it's just a gift because I want to give it, not because it's really for her. So I know that about my people. That's important to me. But I also want to know what's going on with their family. When we show up, it's not just where are we going in our business. It's like, what do you have going on in your life? My people, we've gone through marriages and births and deaths and divorce and just a lot of life's moments. And normally those big moments derail someone in business. But if we have a strong connection, we get through them together. And I have a fiercely loyal team, at least with my PS coaches that I work with the most, because during those moments, they might fall off a little bit because that's life. Maybe they don't, but I'm not going to lose them because they're my tribe. And our team tagline unintentionally evolved into Misfit Means Family, because our team name is Misfit Republic. And that just became a part of our culture. You're not just a team member, you're not just a piece of my rank or a piece of my team cycle bonus, you're family. Doesn't matter where you are in my organization, you're family, and that's a huge part of our team culture. I was doing getting started right calls once a month for my team, so this is a duplication tip for you guys. No problem. We're recording right here, so don't worry, it's fine. Nobody cares, dude. This is the thing, like, your kids are the people who don't know you. They don't care if you're an 11-star diamond elite coach. They don't know what that means. Like, I'm just mom. Like, I wiped her butt when she was little. You're new. The people following you. The people following you, they don't know what all that means, but they will know, are you a good person? So if you guys are constantly like, oh, I'm a 2-star, they're like, what's a 2-star? It means nothing to them. Your rank means nothing to them. But what you do for other people and how you elevate and empower them, that means a lot to them. So making that a part of your attraction marketing is important. Okay, so the monthly new coach broadcast was an idea that I got from Reno Odell to move my getting started right call, which I would do usually the first Monday of every month, to a Facebook Live within my team page. And so that's just another way to foster community, because number one, people can ask questions where they can't do that on a phone call unless it's, I mean, when you have a team of 10 people trying to talk at once is too much. But if you're doing a Facebook Live, the features of them being able to comment while you're going or add hearts or just, participate, it makes them feel like they're part of the team. It helps them take ownership. And when people feel part of something, they feel ownership to it, they work harder for it. Also, when people are part of creating something, that's just an ego thing, right? We teach it to our kids. If they don't want to eat their vegetables, we're like, here, you come make dinner tonight. So they make it and they eat it because their ego said, I did a really good job there, so I'm going to go ahead and eat that food. But you guys can do that with your team as well. Like, we all take more ownership over stuff that we create. So if you're creating new systems, if someone's good at a particular skill, ask them to create a video or go live in the team or just share, because it makes them realize, it gives them confidence of like, oh, I know some stuff. Stuff is valuable to share. They're creating content, and then they take more ownership and they use it more, right? But the other benefit of a Facebook Live in the team page is that people can ask you questions, so they can feel like, as your team grows, and they will, some people are going to feel like they feel so disconnected from you that who are they to ask you a question? Or, you just get some, in the beginning, like, we all know this, because in the beginning, I remember, like, who am I to go ask Janelle Summers a question? Like, I'm nobody, So eventually your teams will go into that, and you want them to feel like you're just their sister. Like, for me, like, we're all linked arms. We're all partners. I don't want followers. I want partners. So I want them to be able to ask me questions. I want them to be able to give their advice, because I learn so much from a brand new coach. I've been in this business too long to sometimes have a full perspective anymore. So, a fresh perspective, and a new coach has that. And so I learn from my new coaches or my emeralds where they're like, hey, this doesn't make very much sense, so then I can go polish or recreate a system. And they got to have ownership over, inspiring that new idea, which again, when people are part of creating something, they take more ownership over it. So that's the benefit of doing the Facebook Lives and the team page. Group messages, so all my new coaches for the same month, so my September coaches will all go into one group message on Facebook. They start to connect with each other, they start to ask each other questions, they start to answer each other's questions, which generates confidence. You guys know that time in school where you're like, I don't know, maybe this was me. I was always the kid in the front row where I'm like, I know the answer. And I always wanted to raise my hand if I knew the answer, because it just made me feel like I'm doing something right. Well, if you put them in a group together and they know the answer, it gives confidence, because they're like, shit, I got this stuff. Like, I'm already reteaching to other people, and it just generates confidence, and then also creates the relationships for them to start working on stuff together. Megan Ewoltson, who was at the Platinum Edge, said something where I'm like, oh my God, that's genius. For a new coach or someone who's in the more beginning phases of their business, my new coaches look at where I am right now, and it actually creates a bigger disconnect, because they think, well, I can't do that because it's just, there's too far of a journey. And I can say as many times as I want to until I'm blue in the face, like, dude, I got 5 years ahead of you. Don't compare yourself to me. But they're still going to try to compare themselves. But if you can connect that coach to someone who's just 6 months ahead of them, 3 to 6 months ahead of them, they look at that and they're like, oh, I could do that. I could get there. So get to know other coaches on your team, people who have been doing this for a little bit longer, and connect that new coach to someone who's just 3 or 6 months ahead of them. That's just one goal, one rank, one whatever, next step ahead of them, so that they can look at that person and it just creates confidence of like, oh, if I work hard enough, I can get there. But they don't believe in that moment oftentimes that they can work hard enough to get to where I am. Not very quickly, at least. So I have to almost work harder to develop new leaders at this phase of my business than I did in the beginning, because before I was more attainable. Now it just seems unrealistic to a lot of people. And I get that because I was definitely that coach on day one too. I connected to Mindy Winter where I'm like, she's making $3,000 a week, life changing. That was like my goal to get there. For some reason, I've always been a big dreamer, but I'm like, 3,000 a week, that's like my big goal. If I get there, my life will be forever changed. But just get them somewhere close enough to where they can believe it. That's the most important part. If they can't believe it, they won't go for it. They won't do the hard work. But if they can believe it, they will. Consistent Zooms. I have almost 200 personally sponsored coaches. This week on my Zoom, I had one person show up. Do you guys know how many times my leaders are like, I don't want to host a Zoom because only one person shows up or no people show up? I'm like, I don't care. Same here, guys. We all struggle the same struggles. But that one person, I got to have a really amazing conversation with. I got to give her new perspective, new tips, and then that new coach hit Success Club for her 2nd month in a row. Or 3rd month, shit. Whatever. Not the point. But it was the end of the month, and she hit it. So I don't care that it was just one, because one person can change everything. You get one Lindsay Matley on your team, or one of you, right? You work hard. Don't we all say like, man, if I could just get 10 of me, go do it. Go get 10 of you. But don't be upset when it's like, oh, it's just one. Because one can change everything. That's a lack versus abundant mindset, right?
Andrea, what would you say for like your once a month?
For what?
Like for your things once a month?
I do mine every Wednesday, once a week. I want them to be able to show up, ask questions. And I took this tip from Danielle Natoni, and she said that on her Zoom, she said everybody has to get on and say 3 things that they rocked at this week, and then 1 thing they want to improve for the next week. So that your focus, the bulk of your focus, is on what you're doing well, instead of letting it overwhelm you of all the things that you're not doing well. I have a huge list of things that I suck at. I have a really small list of things that I'm excellent at, but I just focus on those, and that's why I keep going forward. Yeah.
So your Zooms are more like, it's not like you're speaking on a specific topic, you're just interacting with your coaches and letting them ask you questions.
Yes, this is more about like community and mentorship. Exactly. And I don't record them, so if you don't jump on, too bad if you do. So it just encourages people that if they want to help, they have to show up. And then nobody can come to me and say, well, you didn't do enough to help me. Like, sister, every Wednesday, I'm here. Even if 0 people are on, I'm here. Unless I'm on an airplane. That's the only time, because the Wi-Fi sucks there. But otherwise, I would make it work. But I just want my coaches to know that they always have access to me and that they can depend on me. It just creates a more trusting relationship with them. And yeah.
Your goal lines in your group are more based on a topic.
Right.
And then you do a team call, then everyone get on and everyone group effort.
Right. So yeah. So for our monthly schedule, when it comes to our team, we do a weekly team training where we just teach, and that's for my entire team. And then what I'll do is, instead of me doing my calls, I haven't done this yet, so this is something that I'm moving towards this month. Instead of doing a call for a new coach, I'm going to do the new coach Facebook Lives within the group, and I'll just promote this time, this place, so that they can jump on. But I've done a lot of Facebook Lives in the group groups, and it's just really nice to hear from, sometimes you'll hear from new rock stars, and I'm like, who are you? I need to write your name down and keep an eye on you. Because the health of your team isn't just your personally sponsored coaches or your diamonds. You guys are going to get some rock stars down there that may not have a coach that's developing them. You want to know about it. So you want to create opportunities where they can connect with you. Yeah, for sure. And then, yeah, my Zooms are just my PS coaches, because those are the people that I committed to, that I'm obligated to, so I show up and they get, like, the close interaction time with me.
I have another question. Yeah. Do your, like, elite leaders on your team add people to your group, so it's like your whole downline, or do they do their own and they duplicate what you're doing?
That's a good question. So duplication is everything. I have one big team page that's my entire organization. Anybody can be in that group. And then I have my PS group. That's it. Those are my pages. Then, as my team starts to develop their own downline, even at Emerald, I tell them, like, go start your own team pages. So, or at least your own PS group, so that you can be connected.
I feel like if you kind of tag team it in your big group page, like, I can inspire some of my non-PS coaches, like, 10 levels down, and somebody else can inspire my coaches in a way.
Exactly.
But then I have my own
And ask
people.
them to, like, hey, could you go on the big team page and do Facebook Live?
Right.
You're amazing at this, and just, you know, let them all feel like.
Instead of like saying, okay, I'm a diamond coach now, I'm going to go do my own team, and it's like, well, you're kind of, they don't flourish as much because it's like 10 people, and they have no one to really connect with, you know, so.
And maybe just the different voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, can you go tell this because, like, you can't hear me, or can, you know, like, it's always.
It's like the mom role. Like, if mom says it,
But then having your own PS page, you're tightly connected with your direct tribe at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why, like, I think we have such strong relationships too with my girls, because, and I don't see this even with everyone in my organization, so that's something that I personally need to look at, but my girls are like best friends. You know, when we show up for leadership retreats like this, it's like sisters that haven't seen each other, you know, since summer or whatever. It's a really, really strong connection where they would freaking do anything for each other. And then they start to trade team calls and, you know, share different perspectives and skill sets and all that. Okay, and then the last one is, this is what I mentioned earlier that I was going to share with you guys when it comes to mentoring your team to give them constructive criticism. It's called your permission score. I learned this from Brendan Burchard. And basically that means when you know that someone is doing something that's not serving their business, they're either like posting icky stuff on social media, or their conversations, they're just jumping to, you know, here, buy my stuff too fast, basically, without building relationships. And you have to give some constructive criticism. Sometimes that can be hard because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. So what I do with my coaches when they're in a struggle phase of their business is I say, what's your permission score? Because we all have days where we are really susceptible to constructive criticism or we're not. And I remember I was on a coaching call with Rachel Luna, and she said, where are you at emotionally right now? Because she was about to basically kick me in the face. Like, and I've only ever had one day like this where she asked me that, and I said, I'm at a 0. And her response to me was, okay, I'm so sorry you're struggling right now. And that was her feedback. So if you guys have coaches that are just like, they're going through hard stuff and they're not emotionally susceptible to constructive criticism, then it defeats the purpose, right? So they can say, I'm at a 0 or I'm at a 1, and then your response to them is, I'm so sorry you're going through that. And that's it. But if they're at a 10, that's time where you can have no filter, with love, always with the true core intention of love to serve them, but give them unfiltered feedback. They need to hear it. I want someone to tell me if I'm not doing something well. Does it hurt still? Yes, because we all have egos. We all want to think we're amazing all the time, right? But that doesn't help us grow. So that's why I literally pay someone to do that to me. So you need to just ask them like where they are in that moment. Because I've had some times where I didn't ask and someone was in an emotional state and I really pissed them off, right? Like I had to humble myself and deeply apologize because I should have asked where are you at right now instead of add more to their plate of what they already felt like my life sucks and You know, when you're overwhelmed and you're like, I can't do anything right, you don't want to pile one more thing someone's not doing right on top of that, right? So that's the point of the permission score, is when you're going to mentor someone, you need to know, are they emotionally susceptible to constructive criticism right now? If they are, then it's your obligation to give it to them. That's your job as their coach. Because even if you're not like the best at everything, normally for a new coach, you're at least a little bit better than they are. So as you're growing and you're reteaching, you have to show them, like, here's a different way you can do that that's going to work better. And even though like it might hurt their feelings for a moment, when they try it and they do better, it gets them excited, right? It builds confidence. And they want to keep going. That's how we keep people going, is continuously build confidence. But make sure to tell them more things that they do right than they do wrong. Because if you're constantly like, you suck at this, you suck at this, you suck at this, they're going to be like, I'm out, guys. This sucks. It's not fun anymore. And you guys probably know this, but it's worth saying. If you guys want to attract and develop rockstar coaches, you have to be that rockstar coach first. You guys, it's your job to always be a little bit better so that you can keep growing and learning and then reteaching. And then here's your guys' bonuses that I'm going to give you. So these are your worksheets. Like I said, office supplies is my jam. So every time I come up with a new idea and I want to reteach it, I make it into a worksheet. And I outsource it. Like I have someone else design it into a worksheet. You guys could go to like, is it Fiverr or Fiverr? Fiverr, whatever. For $5 and have someone like create a worksheet for you, or you could even do like Google Forms, something simple like that that's free. But even though I love to design, I can't do everything, right? So I have to know when to outsource, and that's how, if you guys want to get to the next step, you have to learn where you can let some stuff go, even if it's fun for you. I love to design, it's fun for me, but some stuff, I just don't have time to do everything by myself. I have way too many good ideas. I'm just kidding. Okay, so you guys are going to have your mission statement form that you guys are going to do with your team and yourselves, your passion and skills form, the About Me form you guys can use for your newer coaches, and all of these things have my logo on it. You guys can take my logo off and put your logo on, I don't care, but also if you see something and you're like, I kind of like this, just go take the idea of it and recreate it for what makes more sense for your team. And then I have a shout out form, because you guys want to expect that you're going to have so many people doing awesome things that you're going to forget to shout someone out, and that would feel crappy, right? Like, we all want to feel, be reminded when we're doing something well, since that can feel few and far between sometimes in business. So I have a shout out form where I write people's names of like, okay, on Thursday I want to shout this person out, on Tuesday I want to shout this person out, just to remind me to not let anybody fall through the cracks. Recognition is really important. It just shows that you're elevating and empowering other people, and you're emphasizing what they do well. Again, a confidence issue. A recognition ideas worksheet. So if you guys are like, I don't have anybody rank advancing right now, I don't have a Success Club rockstar right now, what are some other ideas that I can recognize people for in their business? I have a huge list of ideas to help kind of stir some creativity for you guys. A victories and wins form. I want you guys to keep, high achievers are really bad at this. If you guys are in this room, you're probably a high achiever, right? Yes, shake your head, yes. Yes, I'm a high achiever, yeah. So I want you guys to keep track of the things that you're doing right. I learned this because when I hired Rachel Luna for the first time, after our period of working together the first time around, she finished our sessions off with a list of everything that I had accomplished since we started working together, and I'm like, oh my God, I did a lot. And I didn't feel that way, because we just show up and we do work, right? Yeah, and I said that was probably, out of everything that she did for me, I mean, everything was valuable, but that was one of the biggest, like, ahas, where I'm like, oh my God, I am doing something right, praise God. Because it just feels like we show up every day, we don't do work, it's not a big deal, I'm just showing up and doing it, right? So you guys want to keep track of the things that you do well. So when you have a moment of weakness where you're like, I'm just not doing enough, you can go back and look at this and be like, you know what, I'm doing all right. And then I want you to do that for yourself. How rude. And then a leadership habit checklist. This last thing is like your sanity checklist, where if your business is not growing the way you want it to grow, you can always go back to this list And 99.9% of the time, you'll find something on this list that you stopped doing. Because common sense is not always common practice, right? We fall out of habits of doing things that we know we should be doing and we just forget. So this is like, as soon as you start to feel like things aren't growing, go back to that list and be like, okay, what did I stop doing? There's always something you stop doing, right? And so your homework, I wrote this for the Platinum Edge for them to do it tonight. You guys can choose to do it whenever makes sense for you, but just write your mission statement. What's going to connect you and develop that craving to where even when stuff is hard, even when the rank isn't happening like you want it to, even when the income isn't happening like you want it to, where you can still keep going. Cool? Any questions?
I had a couple questions to ask before we got here for you.
Yeah.
One being, this is kind of a little bit off this, but can we go back to that time when you lost it, like you were building and then it went backwards on you, and then the questions, like some of them have experienced that, obviously, I think we all kind of go through that, and they are curious, like, how did you keep going, what did you,
it's your focus. What you focus on expands. So if you're so focused on where you're not, you're going to keep pushing yourself further. So I really dove deep into like mindset, law of attraction, for hardcore for that entire year, which is what dug me out of it. And this was like every day I had to be listening to this stuff to get my mind back on track. I was my own worst enemy because I started focusing on what I didn't have. So I wasn't putting as much time and energy into the things that I knew were like business growth behaviors. I was pulling my attention away from it. What you focus on expands, so be careful.
So you were
with that.
focusing on I lost the rank, I'm not getting paid.
I'm not good enough, they're better than me, like I don't have a weight loss story, like all this stupid shit that we feed ourselves that like holds us back, these self-limiting beliefs. But when you shift your focus to the mission of like, who do I want to help today? How do I want to be better today? How do I want to improve my social media? How do I want to serve my team at a higher level? These are all like a growth mindset that will keep you guys going. And you'll still be having fun, right? This business is so much fun. Like I heard her say it, like she loves, her business is like crack cocaine, right?
Yeah.
You feel me? I heard it in your voice. You have to pull it away from me. My husband's like, you should try taking a vacation where you don't work at all for like a week or two. And I'm like, am I in trouble?
Yeah.
Are you grounding me?
Don't in the corner.
No. I definitely have times where I pull back, and you guys cannot always be in like hustle phases of your business. You need to have moments of like massive growth, and then moments where you're continuing to grow, but you're go back to feeding yourself too. Which is why I love the 12-week year concept, because it keeps you focused on these short-term goals that keep you motivated, and you guys will be super high performers if you. That's such a great book. I'm obsessed with it.
You know, when I was really sad, I read that book years ago and I didn't even. You know how sometimes books don't speak to you?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is so great.
Is that
Okay.
similar to like Todd Herman's training?
Yeah, the 90-day year. Yeah, actually, I sent the book to Rachel, and she's like, this kind of sounds like 90-day year. I wonder how much Todd got this from the book. I don't know.
Isn't that?
I'm not saying, I don't know. I've never done 90-day year.
Does anyone have any questions for Andrea? Or y'all so quiet?
Just going back to cleaning up what they were asking about your PS groups and like the Zoom and things. How did you say you laid that out or started? So I guess going back to what Lindsay, because I was one that asked that question, when you fell down, when you got back in, were your coaches, were there still some hanging around? Were they?
Some of them did. They were still there. They just weren't growing because I wasn't growing. You'll set the pace for your team. And I deal with this all the time where coaches have to have a restart. And really what you need to do is you need to shed everything that's already happened and literally like restart. Go back to new coach training. Do it over again. Because what it does is it You're going to pick up the phone next time and be like, listen, asshole.
Could it be the makeup?
It's Hal's phone, so it's
So-
it's probably his.
Having some kind of structure to your team is important. but just start over and say, okay, who do I have who's still willing to work with me? Go humbly apologize to people. If you fell off or if you just didn't have your game face on, reach out to them and be like, you know what? I hope that you and I have built enough of a relationship to where you'll forgive me for that, and maybe we can restart this together. But remember, whether they say yes or no, it doesn't mean anything to you. You have to keep going. If they say yes, awesome. If they say no, awesome, because it's about them, not about you, right? If you guys want to grow faster, talk to more people. Nobody wants to hear that, but it's the truth.
That's what I was gonna ask you, how much time do you spend, like, when you bring new coaches in, I know you said like your new coaches for that month, and then what happens after that month in those small chats?
So eventually they're going to start to have their own